Hello BookTube, welcome back to my 2025 library tour. In this episode, the beginning of the end of the history part of my library tour. There are 3 more days left of history, starting today. So let's get going. First step is Cross and Scepter, The Rise of the Scandinavian Kingdoms from the Vikings to the Reformation by Sverre Berg. Have not gotten around to it yet. Waves Across the South, A New History of Revolution and Empire by Sujit Sivasundaram. I have not gotten around to this either. I picked it up from probably the University of Chicago Press during one of its sales. I don't know if it's the yearly big one or one of the smaller ones. Western Europe's Democratic Age, 1945 to 1968 by Martin Conway. Again, have not gotten around to this yet. The Last Medieval Queens by J.L. Lainsmith. This is a history of the queens, starting with Margaret of Anjou, Elizabeth Woodville, Anne Neville, and Elizabeth of York. I think it's those 4 queens that J.L. Lainsmith focuses on. And she looks at specifically what the roles of these 4 women were. What public roles did they have? What private roles did they have? How did they make money? Were they parties to lawsuits? That sort of thing. This is fairly academic and interesting, and I think I liked it more for the inspiration feel that it provided for a potential medieval fantasy that never existed. Europe Since 1989, A History by Philip Thayer. Haven't gotten around to it. I think I picked this up in Western Europe's Democratic Age and a few others from Princeton's big yearly sale, where selected books are 75% off, which should be incoming in the next few weeks, I think. Blood on the River, A Chronicle of Mutiny and Freedom on the Wild Coast by Marjolaine Kars. So this is the story of the slave revolt in the Dutch colony of Berbice, which is in current Guyana. Really good book. I enjoyed it a lot. It is phenomenal. It won the 2021 Frederick Douglass Book Prize and the 2021 Kundal History Prize, and definitely earned both of them. Back to the books that I have not read. The Wind from the East, French Intellectuals, The Cultural Revolution, and the Legacy of the 1960s by Richard Wolin. Which again I picked up from Princeton University Press during their big 75% off sale. The Beauty and the Terror, The Italian Renaissance and the Rise of the West by Catherine Fletcher. I have actually read this. It's about the Italian Renaissance. It's really good. I quite enjoyed it a lot. Princes of the Renaissance, The Hidden Power Behind an Artistic Revolution by Mary Hollingsworth. Have not gotten around to this yet. Medieval Warfare, Triumph and Domination in the Wars of the Middle Ages by Peter Reed. I picked this up from Friends at the Library book sale about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago now, and haven't gotten around to it. The Braganzas, The Rise and Fall of the Ruling Dynasties of Portugal and Brazil, 1640 to 1910 by Malin Newitt. Have not gotten around to this yet. I have a bit of a taste for dynastic histories, and so this is one, but I haven't gotten around to it. The Shadow Emperor, a biography of Napoleon III by Alan Strauss Schoen. So this is a biography of Napoleon III, who seems to have been a professional intriguer and revolutionary before he managed to become president, then Emperor of France. Did not particularly care for this, what I read of it. Empire of Guns, The Violent Making of the Industrial Revolution by Priya Satya. Have not gotten around to this. Porcelain by Porcelain, A History from the Heart of Europe by Suzanne L. Marchand. This is from the Princeton University Press, and while I think I have seen it sometimes in the sell list, I picked this up from a Librist, which is why it has no dust jacket and fairly annoys me. The Fall of the Dynasties, The Collapse of the Old Order, 1905 to 1922 by Edmund Taylor. This is a book I picked up from the Wickham-McLennan County Friends at the Library book sale alongside Medieval Warfare, although I think I picked this up a few years earlier. This is a discarded book from the Wickham-McLennan County Library, and I can tell you why. Somebody had some fun ripping this to shreds, which means I probably should go ahead and get rid of it. I don't know why I haven't yet. And finally, the last book on this shelf, A Distant Mirror, The Calamitous 14th Century by Barbara W. Tuckman. So this is a history of mostly France, a little bit of England in the mid and late 1300s, the 14th century. And it follows the life of a rather prominent French nobleman, Enguerrand de Courcy VII, I think, who was a major French noble, but during the 100 Years' War between France and England, de Courcy pretty much played both sides by becoming quite dear to King Edward III and going so far as to marrying Edward III's eldest daughter. And so it's basically the book follows his life and sort of what events he was involved in or sort of happened around him. I gave this book was a Bell Redemption. I think I've read it once fully because I checked it out of the library, didn't get on with it, and then I saw this at Friends at the Library book sale, picked it up. So I think I probably picked this up when I got Medieval Warfare, I would think. But then I didn't read it until Steve Donahue's book club, which is when I fully finished it. And I liked it, although there are some things that seemed off to me. So I think my reaction to this book is quite mixed. Anyway, that finishes up that shelf. So now 2 more to go. Well, 2 more books, because there's 2 books on the very bottom shelf. So those 2 will just be bundled up with the 3rd shelf on Wednesday. So anyway, BookTube, until I see you tomorrow with this shelf here, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.